The United States just lost another energy war to China. While Washington is busy waging wars in distant countries and arguing over domestic politics, China is doing something far more dangerous to long-term dominance. It is quietly inventing the future. This week, that reality became impossible to ignore. On January 22, 2026, CATL, the world's largest battery manufacturer, officially unveiled its Tianxing II light commercial vehicle battery series. The headline was not faster charging or longer range. It was something far more disruptive. For the first time in history, a sodium-ion battery entered mass production for real vehicles. For years, sodium-ion batteries were treated as a backup plan, something researchers talked about when lithium prices spiked or when supply chains looked fragile, promising on paper, but never quite ready for the real world. CATL just ended that conversation. This is not a concept car battery, not a lab prototype, not a pilot program. Tianxing II's low-temperature sodium-ion pack is certified, approved, and built for deployment. It is designed for vans and trucks, the kind that operate every day in every season without excuses. The battery pack is 45 kilowatt hours, with an energy density of around 175 watt-hours per kilogram. That number matters because it puts sodium-ion directly next to lithium iron phosphate, the chemistry that dominates low-cost electric vehicles today. And more importantly, it is the world's first battery certified under China's new GB 38031-2025 national standard. That certification alone tells you this is not experimental. This is a production battery intended for real fleets, real roads, and real economic impact. But the real shock is not energy density, it is temperature. CATL says this battery can be charged normally at minus 30 degrees Celsius. Even at minus 40, it retains around 90% of its usable capacity. That single claim quietly removes one of the biggest weaknesses electric vehicles have had since day one. Lithium batteries do not like cold. At low temperatures, charging slows dramatically, internal resistance rises, and usable range collapses. This is not a theoretical problem. It is why EV adoption stalls in cold regions. It is why fleets hesitate. It is why buyers in Canada, Northern Europe, and parts of the United States still think twice. A battery that behaves normally at minus 40 changes that psychology overnight. For logistics companies, municipal fleets, emergency services, and even military operations, reliability matters more than range. A truck that always starts, always charges, and always delivers is more valuable than one that promises long range but struggles half the year. This is why CATL did not start with passenger cars. Commercial vehicles are where batteries prove themselves. These vehicles do not chase performance numbers. They run fixed routes, return to depots, and cycle their batteries every single day. They are judged on uptime, durability, and cost per kilometer. If a battery works here, it works anywhere. CATL says the sodium-ion pack is rated for more than 10,000 charge cycles. That is not a marketing number. Assuming one full cycle per day, that translates to nearly 30 years of service life. Even under heavy commercial use, the battery is likely to outlast the vehicle itself. That one statistic flips the economics of electrification. Battery replacement is the single largest long-term cost for electric fleets. When the battery stops being a consumable and starts being infrastructure, the entire cost model changes. Suddenly, electric vehicles are not just cleaner, they are cheaper, more predictable, and easier to operate. This extreme cycle life is also why CATL is pairing sodium-ion with battery swapping. As part of Tianxing II, CATL introduced standardized, swappable battery blocks ranging from 42 to 81 kilowatt hours. Battery swapping only works when batteries can survive thousands of shallow cycles without degrading quickly. Sodium-ion fits that requirement better than most lithium chemistries. There is also the raw economics. Sodium-ion batteries deliver around 40% lower raw material costs compared to lithium-ion systems, mainly because they eliminate dependence on lithium carbonate, a material plagued by supply bottlenecks and price swings. Performance trade-offs exist, but they are manageable and application-specific. Cycle life is where sodium-ion dominates. With 10,000 plus cycles, it offers nearly 3 times the durability of lithium iron phosphate, which typically reaches around 3,000 to 3,500 cycles. That makes sodium-ion ideal for high-cycle fleets, battery swapping networks, and stationary storage where longevity matters more than peak energy density. But what makes CATL's move truly strategic is that sodium-ion is not replacing lithium entirely. Tianxing II is a platform, not a single battery. Alongside the sodium-ion version, CATL offers lithium-based fast-charging, high-temperature, and long-range variants. One version charges from 20 to 80% in around 30 minutes at minus 15 degrees Celsius. Another adds 60% range in 18 minutes while operating reliably at 45 degrees Celsius. There is even a massive 253 kilowatt-hour pack enabling 800 kilometers of range for inner-city logistics. This tells you exactly how CATL sees the future. Lithium stays where energy density is critical. Sodium takes over where cost, durability, and temperature stability matter more. Internally, CATL calls this a dual-star strategy. Two chemistries optimized for different jobs, controlled by the same manufacturer. Now zoom out. Lithium prices are volatile again. After years of oversupply, producers cut output, mines were closed, processing capacity was delayed. When demand returned, prices surged. Lithium carbonate pushed past $20,000 per metric ton. Futures jumped more than 160% from last year's lows. At the same time, China announced reductions in export tax rebates for battery products, with full removal planned by 2027. These policy shifts add pressure across the lithium supply chain. Restarting mines takes time. New projects take years. Volatility is no longer a temporary issue. It is structural. Sodium bypasses this entire problem. Sodium is over 1,000 times more abundant in the Earth's crust than lithium. It can be extracted from mineral salts and even seawater. Extraction costs are a fraction of lithium's. There is no lithium triangle, no geographic choke point, no strategic bottleneck. Technically, sodium-ion batteries work much like lithium-ion ones. Ions move between electrodes during charging and discharging, but unlike lithium, sodium is cheap, globally distributed, and politically boring, which is exactly what you want in an energy transition. Today, sodium-ion cells are not dramatically cheaper than lithium because they lack scale, but CATL expects sodium-ion packs to become 20 to 30% cheaper than LFP as production ramps. When that happens, lithium loses its cost advantage in the segments that consume the most batteries by volume, and those segments are massive. China alone sells roughly 900,000 light commercial vehicles every year. Add buses, municipal fleets, two-wheelers, battery swapping networks, and grid-scale storage, and the numbers become staggering. These markets do not care about performance bragging rights. They care about reliability, cost, and supply security. Sodium-ion delivers all three. Energy storage may be the biggest long-term impact. Grid storage does not need high energy density. It needs safety, long life, and low cost. A battery that can cycle for decades without relying on scarce materials fits renewable energy systems perfectly. This is why sodium-ion is already being deployed in grid projects, even outside China. But China's dominance here is not just about chemistry. It controls roughly 60% of global sodium-ion battery production capacity because it has something few others do: a fully integrated battery ecosystem. Raw material processing, cathode production, cell manufacturing, pack assembly, certification, and deployment all happen within tightly clustered regions. Provinces like Jiangsu and Guangdong host dense supplier networks that cut costs, shorten lead times, and allow rapid iteration. Manufacturing labor is skilled and cost-efficient. Energy prices are competitive. Regulatory approvals are faster. Scale compounds speed. In the United States, companies like Peak Energy and Natron Energy are working on sodium-ion batteries for grid storage and data centers, but production remains small and pilot-driven. The chemistry is being validated, not industrialized. China is operating at an entirely different level. CATL is not alone. BYD is building large, dedicated sodium-ion facilities as part of its long-term electrification strategy. Heine Battery is already supplying sodium-ion cells for low-speed electric vehicles and two-wheelers. JMF has been selling a sodium-ion version of its EV3 since 2024. This is not a roadmap. It is not a promise. It is happening now. The key thing to understand is that sodium-ion does not need to beat lithium everywhere. It only needs to replace lithium where lithium struggles most: cold climates, high cycle applications, cost-sensitive fleets, and long-life energy storage. That is exactly where CATL is deploying it first. While the West continues subsidizing lithium mines and fighting a resource war over scarce materials, China has quietly stepped out of that fight. Instead of digging deeper, it is scaling abundance. Instead of betting on scarcity, it is betting on materials that exist everywhere. Lithium will not disappear overnight. High-performance passenger EVs will still rely on lithium for years, but most vehicles are not performance machines. They are tools. They deliver packages, power cities, store energy, and operate every day without drama. That is where sodium-ion takes over. CATL's announcement is not just about a new battery, it is about a shift in control. When the most abundant element becomes the backbone of electrification, the advantage goes to whoever can scale it first. So what do you think happens next? Do Western automakers catch up, or do they end up buying China's battery standard for the next decade? And if you want the real story behind the world's fastest moving AI breakthroughs, make sure to like and subscribe to Evolving AI for daily coverage.